What's up, everybody? How you guys doing out there? You're tuned into the GM podcast. I am your host, Manuel. Right now, we are in Sacramento area, pretty close to the airport out here. We're heading south towards LA, but not actually going to LA yet. We still have a lot of work to do. But today, we wanted to talk about knowing when you're wrong and apologizing for it. I think we can all benefit off of this because I think we've all been wrong at least once.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I think those two topics are very important to live a happy life. I mean, to be honest with you, knowing when to admit that you're wrong, it's like you're lowering your ego, you're diminishing your ego by saying, hey, you know what, I was wrong.
Right.
And forgiveness or apology, well, for me, I like to kind of touch bases on forgiveness because when you admit that you're wrong, you're kind of apologizing.
Right.
But how about forgiveness? That is a huge, because sometimes we're so pissed off, we're so hurt that we just can't seem to let go. And sometimes you will never, ever get the closure. Sometimes you will never have that person admit they were wrong. But yet, for your own good, you have to forgive. Does that make sense, partner?
Yeah. Yes, it does. And right now, I'd like to admit that I was wrong. I'm sorry, partner, that I didn't introduce you to today's podcast.
Hey, you just threw me in there.
Well, I'm glad you recognize that, and thank you for your forgiveness. But yeah, egos do get set aside when you do admit that you were wrong. And not only that, you start to mature. You become this more logical person, and you start to actually think about what it is to not make the same mistakes. That should be another good, interesting topic, partner. It's, owning up to your mistakes. But anyways, back to the subject that we're going back into. Admitting that you're wrong is, like I said, I think we all can benefit off of this. We've all been wrong, and I do remember a few times where I admitted to the person that I was speaking to that I was wrong, and I like to apologize. And it not only do you brush off a lot of things, it's a heavy weight off your shoulders. And I think we can all see that the light at the end of the tunnel when you're taking this weight off your shoulders. You can actually start to breathe. You can live a peaceful life after that, right?
Yes, and here's the catch. Admitting you were wrong and apologizing doesn't make things better without changed behavior. So I've had a lot of this in my life. I'm a person that if I say, hey, if I know that I did something that hurt you or insulted you, and you bring it up to my attention, and if I care, believe me, change behavior automatically. You don't ever have to tell me again, hey, Gabby, remember what you did? You're doing the same damn thing. You don't need to tell me because I'm a mature adult. I'm a woman who cares about the people who are closest in my life. And so therefore, changed behavior will let you know that I was sorry and that I admit that I was wrong. Because what's the point of admitting you were wrong and apologizing when you do the same damn shit?
Right.
And I speak from experience because I've had that done to me where I've tried to be as expressive as possible. And you know this, partner, because you and I have a very great communication, and you know that I'm very expressive. I try to tell you exactly how I feel. I try to leave everything on the table, and then it's up to you whether you want to change certain aspects if something was brought up because it bothered me or offended me or whatever the case. So I think I speak pretty clearly, and when I have brought things up to certain people, they're like, oh yeah, shoot, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And then tomorrow, the same damn thing. So don't admit you were wrong and don't apologize if changed behavior doesn't follow after. So that is a huge difference. Huge difference. I mean, what do you think, partner?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't expect to change if you're not willing to admit that you haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
That doesn't work that way. You know, like I told you before, I was wrong before, and hell, I've made plenty of mistakes on doing this gig with you. You know,
Right.
and I do admit when I was wrong. And guess what? I don't seem to fall in the same stupidity pattern or being that, you know, that same person that I'm trying to be, this cocky person. It's thrown out the window. And to say that I would say that would probably be one of my gripes now, which is, you know, trying to be like this dick, you know, and not really admitting to it, the mistakes that I've done. So I'm gonna hand it over the mic, partner, because I gotta get in this traffic real quick.
Hey, you know what's really cool about our friendship, partner? I think that we've discussed this before, and the only reason why we always talk about, you know, to our listeners out there, we talk about our friendship over here is because it's been one of the easiest friendships, partnerships, companionships, whatever you want to call it, has been one of the easiest in my entire life. Like literally, you and I will have a discussion or we'll have a disagreement, and then, okay, we're a little bit pissed off. We let each other be. You give me my space. I fucking give you your space. And then 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later or maybe 30 minutes later, if you were wrong, you'll say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry about what I did, or I'm sorry about what I said. And then I'll turn around and say, all right, no big deal.
Yeah.
Let's go have some lunch.
Right.
Like that is literally how you and I operate.
Well, that's how easy it is.
That's how easy it is. That's what I'm trying to say, because you're communicating and you're admitting to your fault, your fault, and or vice versa. I literally do the same thing to you. You know what, partner? I'm sorry. I fucked up. I should have done this. And then you'll say the same thing, like, all right, no big deal. Let's move on.
Yeah, don't just point the fingers at me.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know what I mean? Like, it is the most simplified. And what a breath of fresh air to be able to communicate that way, and then poof, it's gone.
Right.
The problem is gone. And not to say that we haven't had bigger issues, because I think the most challenges and the problems we've ever encountered has been with the business, and we do have very stressful days. But then you know what happens? You and I pump each other up and say, you know what, man, things are gonna get better. We've been through this, we've gone through worse, things are gonna get better. And there you go, we keep on moving. So I like to always bring up our friendship into this, because I want people to really understand what we're trying to say here. It's really not that complicated. Set your egos aside. Talk to your loved ones, talk to your family, whoever you are trying to communicate with. Leave that ego at the door and just say, you know what? Hey mom, hey dad, brother, sister, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Fuck. Can you please forgive me? Especially if it's severe, like what you did or what you said, you really have to be humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And, admitting when you're wrong will set your pride aside. You really don't understand until you actually go through the process and the steps of admitting when you're wrong and throwing it out the window and just having a stressless life. Me as a parent, I know that I've done some things wrong, and if I could go back and correct them, I would. But since I have to deal with that burden, I have to deal with the wrongness that I did, the only thing to do now is to continue forward and understanding that I won't do those things again. I know that I'm bigger than that. My pride will not put me back in the position that I once was in.
Yes, sir. And, it's important to not expect the other person to accept your apology. This is very key. This is very key. The things that I've learned. So you always be the bigger, better person. Always strive to be the best. So if you know you did something wrong and you go up to somebody and you apologize with sincerity, you are doing yourself a favor. You're giving yourself a reward. And it's not about being selfish. Like, you're giving them a reward. You're giving them a gift by trying to apologize. Now, it is not your responsibility to understand how they react. If you're apologizing and it's sincere and they reject you, feel good that you did the good thing, right? So you can't control the other person. You will never control something outside yourself. You could only control how you feel, how you think, and how you speak. So if you let go of the control, because trust me, there's times where you try to apologize, and you know which ones? Breakups are bad, because you try to apologize to the person for whatever you did, and we get into this panic mode. We get into this desperate mode where we are forcing our apology, and when they don't accept it, we are angry, we are jealous, we are desperate. You see what I'm saying? So releasing that control. I think breakups are really bad. That's why they go bad sometimes. The person reacts to the other person's reaction. And if we learn to let go of that control, I think that not only will the other person be surprised, like, oh wow, they're kind of calm, but I think a lot of people already anticipate the other person's reaction to be bad. Yeah. When you offer somebody a gift because you're offering them an apology, I consider it a gift, and they reject it. Like, if you go to somebody's birthday party and they tell you, I don't like this, take it back to the store, it's going to hurt you. Right. You're going to be like, oh, wow, like that, I put some effort into that. So never do it for their reaction. Do it for yourself. Say, you know what, I'm sorry, I really do care about you, and I'm sorry. And if they choose not to and they reject you, then it's okay. You know what, certain things are not meant to be the way you plan out. But always be the better person, and always try to be real, and always try to be sincere when you talk to other people.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, of course, all these things are relevant, and when you screw up, just know that your sincerity will humble you, and it's easy to move on from these things, but we can all admit to these screw ups that we've done, and whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you might go through in the future, I'm sure not everybody's perfect, but let's all try to learn from our mistakes. Let's all humble ourselves down to a sincerity where it's where we can actually admit that we were wrong, and and move on from these things, move on from these processes that keep us in a kind of like in a dark corner. Like, if you're not admitting that you're wrong, if you don't admit that you screwed up, you're kind of in this dark corner with your ego held up high, and people can see that bullshit, So let's all humble ourselves to know what it feels like when we're wrong. Exactly.
That's absolutely accurate. And now let's cross over to the other side. Let's say you never receive that apology. You never receive sincerity from the person who just hurt you. Let's say they never ask for forgiveness. They never admit that they were wrong. They never will change. So guess what? Now the other side, right? Now we're talking about the other party. Now it's their responsibility to say, I forgive you. You don't even have to tell them. You could say this in your head. I forgive him. I forgive her for my own sake. And let me tell you this. This is not easy. Because, again, ego wants to say, nope, no, no. I don't want to forgive. I want to be angry. I want to be fucking feeling like a victim. I want to feel vandalized. Like, no, look. This was very difficult for me to do during my divorce. It was very, very difficult to to forgive him. Because in my heart, I was like, I did nothing wrong. I don't deserve this. What did I do? I try to be the best. You see, the victim mentality kicked in. I wanted to feel sorry for myself. I wanted others to feel sorry for me. I wanted him to recognize that I was a good woman and I was a good wife. Guess what? That shit ain't never gonna come. Yeah. And if it does, it's very rare when somebody will come to you and say, you know what? Let me lay it all on the table. I was fucked up. I did this. This was wrong, etc., etc. So I may never, ever get that. And I'm not seeking it, but I need to do it on my own terms. I need to forgive people who have hurt me for my own sake, my own sanity. And if that makes any sense to anybody, people can walk around with such a dark heart because somebody hurt me. Imagine if I met you, partner, right? Imagine if I met you and I was full of hate and anger and revenge because 3 persons ago hurt me. So fuck you, since I'm meeting you barely for the first time, because you're going to pay for whatever 3 persons did ago. Does that make sense? That makes no sense.
Yeah, but I'd still forgive you.
Stop it. No, you wouldn't be talking to me if I was that, you know? So it's not fair for you to carry on the poison and then try to kill somebody else with that poison when they have nothing to do with that toxic relationship you had. Exactly, that toxic past. So I hope that I'm making sense here, because if you never receive the sincere apology, or you never receive the sincerity, like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I need help. I'm the fucked up person, etc. Then you will never be happy, because you're always going to hold on to that dark anger. And really, the only person you're hurting yourself, because you're always going to be pissed. You're going to always have these walls, these huge walls up, because you don't want nobody to get close to you. I think boundaries are healthy. Like, I have boundaries, and I even admit that I have trust issues, but it's not, I don't think it's toxic. I think I'm just vigilant of people, and I say, okay, I'm not going to trust that easy like I used to. I'm not going to take their word for it that easy like I used to. They're going to have to prove to me with action, because I'm all about action. If I tell you something, I follow it immediately with action. So now I'm just vigilant. I set boundaries. But I'm talking about the people who walk around with these huge walls, like, get the fuck away from me because I don't trust you and I don't want to love and I don't want to care and I don't want to feel no more. That's not healthy whatsoever. What do you think, partner?
Yeah, I think we need to start forgiving ourselves too. It plays a big key too with this whole thing that we're talking about. You know, admitting that you're wrong, owning up to it, and then forgiving yourself.
Yep.
Forgiving yourself, you can actually, you will live a lot more happier if you tend to forgive yourself after admitting that you were wrong. But to go back to your toxic past part.
Wow.
No, I mean, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I think forgiveness in this situation, you know, for me, it was easy for me to befriend you. You know, you and I have the same type of friend. Yeah, we have the same qualities. We have the same goals as far as friendship goes. You know, and And to admit when I was wrong doing the things that I did around you, or even when I first met you, you know, it was kind of difficult to like, because I wasn't really ready to like meet somebody like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I was wrong, you know. I was wrong because I needed this friendship to happen, and once I've admitted that, and I kind of expressed this to you, you understood my side of the table.
Yep.
And we came to a conclusion, and look at where we are now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the button right there. You know, when you and I first met, we were a little damaged because I had just gotten out of a 20-year marriage. I felt severely betrayed, severely hurt, and I was working on that. I was working on myself, and then I meet you, and then we instantly connect, and that got me suspicious as fuck. Because I was like, wait, I just met this guy. How can we have this instant connection? Like, it was crazy. So I think you and I kind of battled with that. But once we said, okay, you know what I think it was, once we kind of made that turn, was that you started realizing that I wasn't bullshitting. Like everything that was coming out of my mouth was honesty. And I think you started seeing that in me, and I started seeing that in you. So then our walls kind of came down a little bit and said, okay, well, shit, everything he says matches to what he does. And it's really that simple. You want to be trusted? Start matching your words with your actions, and people will trust you. And admitting that you're wrong, because to be honest, I've never had anybody so sincere and honest as you in my life. So anytime you knew that maybe the things that you said or did kind of bothered me, you know, I don't like to make big deals about things, but, you know, I get a little bit reserved, or because I'm not rude or mean to you, I just get closed off. And then you would say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry, or whatever. We would talk about it in our own way, and I would say, okay, cool, man, let me get some shit off my chest right now. This is what I didn't like. This is what you said. La, 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 la. Talk it out. Smash it. And then we were on our way forward. Always forward. And if everybody worked that way, I'm not saying that we're perfect, but if everything was that simple, my God, man, we'd be like in peace and love. Because honestly, like, it shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't be complicated. Admitting when you're wrong, saying I'm sorry, saying I love you, and forgiving. It shouldn't be so complicated. But I think what stops us in our tracks most of the time is it scares us how that other person is going to react. And to be honest with you, a lot of us are scared of rejection. Because rejection doesn't feel good. Who gets rejected and says, hell yeah, I needed that today?
Hey, there's some freaks out there.
Yeah, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like, rejection doesn't feel good, but it's part of life. You get rejected at a job interview. You get rejected by a girl or a guy you like. You get rejected by your parents. I mean, how many times did we say, Mom, I want to go out? No, go clean your room. You know, so it's like it's a daily constant battle of rejection. So knowing your worth, knowing that it's not the end of the damn world. I've learned that a lot. Like, when something happens not my way, I think to myself, okay, you know what? I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. Let's move on. Things are not that bad. I check myself. Okay, my limbs are intact. My kids are okay. My parents are okay. My best friend's okay. You know what? Fuck it. Whatever happened is not that bad. We can do it over again, or we could do it better next time.
Well, you guys, I think we're running short on time this time. This is all we got for today. But yeah, always know when you're wrong, admitting to it, and forgiving yourself, and move forward. That is what we're trying to promote today. And hopefully you guys do get it. Hopefully you guys do benefit off of this. But that was a hell of a show, partner.
Heck yeah, it was. I want to wish everybody a great, great rest of the year. I mean, we're going to have more podcasts, of course, but I want to keep the positivity up and running. If, we hope this podcast really helps somebody, even if it's just one person. I always get a lot of people tell me, like, why are you always trying to make a difference? Why are you trying to save the world? Trust me, I've had a lot of those. Oh, you're trying to save the world. Oh, you're trying, why are you always trying to, like, people are people and they're not going to change. You know what? But if I can help one person, because let me tell you, when I was going through my darkest hour, having just one friend saved my world, saved my entire life. So if I can help just one person convince themselves to just keep going and do the best they can, then I've done my job as a human being. So I like to thank all our listeners out there. Thank you for continuing your support, and we hope one day that these podcasts is I actually hope somebody is saving our stuff like favorites. But thank you, everybody. We're wishing everybody a great and happy holidays.
Subscribe, people. Subscribe. Hit that button down there. And let's keep this show on the road. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. And till next time, peace and love, you guys.